So you've got a big idea for a product. That's awesome. But today we're going to follow that idea on its entire journey, from that first little spark all the way into the future. And we're going to uncover the true and, often hidden costs of doing business.
You've got it. The next big thing, right? But here's the deal. Turning that brilliant idea into a business that actually makes money, well, that means you have to look way beyond the obvious price tags. You have to understand this whole complex web of costs that will literally make or break you. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack.
All right, first things first. We have to lay the groundwork. Before we can even dream of making a single thing, we've got to get a handle on the different kinds of costs. Some are super obvious, you see them right away. But the other ones, they're kind of invisible, but trust me, they are just as important.
Okay, so business costs basically come in two flavors. First, you've got your explicit costs. This is the easy stuff, right? It's the money literally leaving your bank account for things like rent, materials, paying your people. But then you have implicit costs. Now these are the sneaky ones. This is the value of stuff you're already putting in, like the salary you're not paying yourself, or the interest your money could be making in a bank instead of being tied up in your business.
And that leads us to one of the most powerful, and I mean powerful, ideas in all of economics: opportunity cost. It's simple, really. Every time you choose to do one thing, you are, by default, choosing not to do a million other things. The value of that next best thing you just gave up, that's your opportunity cost. If you use your building to make skateboards, you can't use it to make rollerblades. That lost potential, that's a very real cost.
So here's the big takeaway for this section. The total economic cost isn't just the number on your receipts. Nope, it is the sum of what you physically pay out and what you're giving up. Getting this in your head from day one is the absolute key to making smart decisions.
Okay, so our foundation is set. Now for the fun part. Let's fire up the machines. We are officially moving from idea to production. And as we scale up from making just one thing to making thousands, the way we have to think about costs, it's got to change too.
The second you open the doors for business, you've got fixed costs. The best way to think of these is like your company's rent or your phone bill. They're just there every single month. It doesn't matter if you make 0 products or 1 million of them, you still have to pay for the building and your key people. They're constant. They're fixed.
And on the flip side, of course, we have variable costs. These are tied directly to how much you make. The more you produce, the more steel you need, the more power you use. If you shut down production for a week, these costs can drop almost to nothing. They move, they're variable.
So this brings up a really important question. Let's say you're in a good rhythm. Production is flowing. Is it always, and I mean always, a good financial decision to make just one more unit? You'd think the answer is an easy yes, but it's not quite that simple. The real answer is hidden inside this concept: marginal cost. Now, this isn't your average cost. This is the super specific, precise cost of producing that very next item. This is the number that good managers are obsessed with because it tells them if making one more thing is going to make them money or actually cost them.
Let's just look at the numbers here. So to make that first unit, it costs 50. Okay, but check this out. To make the second one, the additional cost goes down to 40. And the third one is only 30. Why? Well, the business is getting more efficient, finding its groove. But then, look what happens. As you push to make that fourth and fifth unit, the cost per unit starts to creep back up again. See that U shape in the numbers? That's the magic right there. At first, as you ramp up, you get better and more efficient, so the cost for each extra item falls. But if you push it too far, you start to strain your resources, maybe pay people overtime, run machines too hard, and the cost per item starts to rise again. Finding the very bottom of that U is how businesses find their production sweet spot. That's max efficiency. So, we found our sweet spot, the factory is humming, we are good to go, right? Well, making the product is only half the battle. Now we've got to manage all the stuff we've made. And that takes us to the warehouse, where every single box just sitting on a shelf is quietly costing you money.
See, managing inventory is like this constant tug-of-war between 3 costs that all hate each other. You've got your ordering costs for placing a new shipment, you've got carrying costs, that's the rent and insurance for your warehouse, and then there are shortage costs, which is what happens when you run out of stuff and have angry customers. That one hurts.
So this creates a classic dilemma.
If you order small batches really often, your warehouse costs are low, which is great, but you're constantly getting hit with shipping and processing fees. On the other hand, if you order a gigantic amount once a year, you save on ordering, but now you're paying a fortune to store and insure a mountain of products. So, what do you do?
Well, there's actually a beautiful piece of business math called the economic order quantity, or EOQ. It is literally a formula that calculates the perfect, ideal, most wonderful order size, the exact number of units that finds that perfect sweet spot where your ordering and carrying costs are at their absolute lowest. It's the elegant solution to that messy tug of war.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second. We've been assuming this whole time that we're making this product ourselves, from scratch. But every single business for every single part faces a huge strategic choice. Should we make it in-house, or should we just buy it from another company?
Let's just run the numbers. It's actually pretty simple. In this case, the company needs 5,000 parts. To buy them from a supplier, the total cost is going to be $5.5 million. But if they make it themselves, the variable costs are way lower. So even with the same fixed costs, the total comes out to just $4.25 million.
The numbers really don't lie here, do they? In this case, it is way, way cheaper to just make the thing yourself. And this kind of straightforward analysis, just weighing the total cost of each option, is something that really successful businesses do all the time. Okay, so our business is crushing it. We're efficient, our inventory is perfect, we're making smart sourcing decisions, but we can't get comfortable. We have to think about the long run, because those big, expensive machines we're relying on, yeah, they are not going to last forever. We need a plan. And this is where our final concept, depreciation, comes in. Now, I know it sounds like a super boring accounting term, but it's actually a brilliant strategic tool. Basically, it's the process of recognizing that your big assets lose value every single year, and you treat that loss of value as a real business expense.
The absolute best way to think about depreciation is as a forced savings plan for replacing your stuff. Each year, the company takes the amount the machine has depreciated and puts that cash into a special fund. So 10 years from now, when that critical machine finally dies, you're not panicking. There's a big pile of cash already saved up waiting to buy the new one. It's genius.
And that really brings us full circle. The key to building a lasting, successful business isn't just about celebrating the money coming in the door, it's about developing a deep, fundamental understanding of every single cost, the obvious ones, the hidden ones, the tricky ones, at every single step of the game.
So, I'll leave you with this. Now that you have a much better idea of what it really costs to bring an idea to life, what's that big idea you'd be willing to tackle? What problem would you go out and solve? Thanks so much for watching.